nurses and teacher trainee allowance by. Samreno, Nanya nurse for near teacher for Nkwa. All man near called Agri College. Maybe one Nampala, who call Agri Kushia dia, as I said, Uji Alawa, Brigadier Frifa, and the two coming. I'm real to the Viano. And our father, Dr. K. Busia, said, oh, my civic education. And the Busia Bayano, or called Kibi Training College. I want to kind call I also not training college, you know, near men and women. You know, and they will call a Madian. No could do my school. Only man is shy. Then Comodiamono or the two women said. The man of my present me Busa, one will be our Didikwa. No, Dakwa. Never so Messua, Yetianeka. A man so no money baby. Papa no did not be free. Was it there be Obia Didikwa na Dakwa dear? And the Zabo so Messua, Ojia Katia. And the doctor K. Busia Katia almost said, and the Anamu Didikwa, Modakwa. And the son that they are coming Krumala wana or their mamma. If he afia edi animal kui into a mokabi. In the 1967 or school 68 and Busia cha Adam. They say woman university for na kuyepe. Can na teacher training no na ya 4 year 3 year post secondary and acquire degree. Obi wo tech, ebi wo Cape Coast, ebi wo Legon. Omu nyina degree krona na ye. Na kotua bika. Na waje bia. Eje se wo sisibi. Ye nyina nso ye man baba ko. Endi eligible for utterance say present every enede ko. And say ye nipa bi bu nipa bi kwase ya. Enye ga na mbra. Say, as a chinchina, a constitution, Musa Yentre, India, Nasifoni, a teacher of Walker. And this is a Utia dia, and you know, be away investing in arm. Or Kokusia di Bia, as a Sutianica. And Unti, and Yama Biasina, attending the Bia, say. Any baby, or Mumu said, Chinchina, trying, say Uko teacher training in Nasia, as I said, Itiauka.
He continued by saying that from next year, you are no more going to collect or enjoy allowance, as you have readily and rightly said that it is nonsense for those who eat free and sleep free also to be paid or enjoy allowance. So therefore, allowance was cancelled in 1967. All those who went to training colleges from 1968 to 1984 were no more paid or received trainee allowance due to the cancellation by Dr. K.A. Busia.
Finally, my family is free because of Rome Villa Estate. Yes, this estate is responsible for selling affordable litigation-free lands that have electricity, water, and accessible roads. I am so happy.
And pay a church you have to do a platform for early teachers. Who can come, meet it to train amity. A prony added 2 years in Mayate as he said. A year teacher training and nurses allowance now. A buying person who chemo. Idikai, any Ghana Mremu, a year constitution said. As a set chinchina, you teach for a year cushion dear and in nurse for car. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and in 1960. Or these are nurses and teacher training allowance by. Samreno, nurse for near teacher for Nkwa. man here called Agri College. Maybe one Nampala who call Agri Kushia dia as Uji Alawa. Na etimi bua wo nechese uye bo modern sua de ani ye. Enti mra ye tu kwa me nkruma 1966. Kofia Agrifa Busia ne tu no. Brigadier Afrifa ene tu kwa me nkruma. Mra wo tu ne wie ye no. Ana wo fa Dr. K Busia say o ma civic education. Cheche da no ni a wo ne be hwe ngoma sua so. Enti Busia ba ye no. Oko kibi training college. I want to di kind call a home so not training college you know near men and women. You know na wo kru ndo ko e ma de no ko do ma school. Oni ma ni siai. Na nkomodie mu no na ode to wo manim se. Me manu ma me pese me busa o wan obi a odidi kwa. No oda kwa. Na bo so me so a yetua neka emanu so no munim baabi a papa no de na bi mfiri ozi da bi obi odidi kwa na ada kwa de enza bo so me so a oji akatua endi Dr. K Busia ka che o mu se ene na mudidi kwa moda kwa endi sa na tie de akwa me nkruma ala wana odi amamo ifi afia edi animu koi mintu ya mukabi. In the 1967, no, oko school, 68, and Busia cha Adam. The battle about 1969-70, obey president. A good one, Papa, ceremonial president. Allowance bia Oman Farmer. And you go teacher training college, one Udi Upa, Aton Yeman Adiako, nursing training, agri training. Any teacher training. Copim 1985. And PNDC Secretary Mary Grant. Oko JJ Rawlings and the cartoon and himself. Yera Mampani. As I said, kwa lata. Yeko Libya. Yeko South Africa. Nazi Yeko America. Yeko London. Yenya nkrofo ema yenhwe yenkodai endi misrew teacher adwuma ne nurse adwuma enya akono sebe ya ebenya akyerɛkyerɛfo dodo ne yatra mamu ne yatima aboa ye nti no momodra sɛ obetimi de kwa me nkruma ala wana Busia betwa mu asamba ena 1985 eye Lawrence mami wadwe na ade ba ne ya adwempa mate ndi beba ma yenya akyerɛkyerɛfo ndi ode bai 1985 tu bako busumi bia ubako bank no akwaje usika said ya teacher ni je uwie college obaje ala wano resource ba na yentia o pass crowd ala wan bedidi ya kopim so obe pass ansana watro nso no anya o first grade akọ kopim emra eye eni alawano achechefo obu ye wie training college ye titifie nurse fo obu titifie endi na achechefo ni nurse fo obu die ehun ya se esese aban tokoso na otua sa enkrofo yika if you say woman university for nyina ko yepe kanenu na teacher training no na ye 4 year 3 year post secondary and akoye degree obi wo tech ebi wo Cape Coast ebi wo Lagos omu nyina degree kro na ye na akotua bika na waja bia ese wo sisibi ye nyina nso ye man baba ko endi elite for utterance say present every enedi ko and say ye nipa bi bu nipa bi kwase ya enye ga na mbra say esese chinchina e wo constitution mu say ye nkyere entua na esefo ni achichafo ka endi se wutua dia ene na obi a wo university nyina ɔkɔ kɔsua adeɛ bi a ɛsɛ sɛ wotua ne ka. Ɛno nti ɛne ɛma wiase nyinaa ate ne nnadua yi sɛ ɛni baabiara wɔ nwoma mu sɛ kyenkyena atwan sɛ wokɔ teacher training ne nurse a ɛsɛ sɛ yɛtua wo ka. Nti sɛ yɛne nsɛmtwerɛfoɔ hyia a na deɛ yɛde to mo anim no.
Finally, my family is free because of Rome Villa Estate. Yes, this estate is responsible for selling affordable litigation-free lands that have electricity, water, and accessible roads. I am so happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Platform for Early Teachers considers the cancellation of nursing and teachers' allowance to be very normal. Why are they saying this? In 1960, the first president of Ghana, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, introduced the teacher and nurse trainee allowance. The trainee allowance was not only enjoyed by the teachers and nurses trainees, but also other trainees from the agricultural colleges, School of Hygiene, etc. The trainees, students, received payment of monthly allowance throughout the period of studies. Payment of monthly allowance throughout the period of studies, alongside free accommodation and feeding, which was borne by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the then president of Ghana. Emphatically, the allowance were paid monthly to the trainees till they completed their respective educational programs. So after the overthrow of Nkrumah's government by Brigadier Akwesi Amankwa Afrifa in 1966, Dr. Kofi Abrefa Busia was appointed to be in charge of civic education. Therefore, the educational sector was under the care of Dr. K.A. Busia during Afrifa's regime. In 1967, Dr. K.A. Busia went to Kibi Women's Training College purposely to announce the cancellation of the trainee monthly allowance. Kibi had two teachers training colleges by then. Those were Kibi Women's Training College and Kibi Men Training College. During the process of cancellation, Dr. K.A. Busia quizzed the teacher trainees at the Kibi Women's Training College that, how do you consider somebody who eat free and sleep free and at the same time being paid by the state and take salary in the form of allowance? The students replied by saying that it is nonsense for those who eat free and sleep also free to be paid allowance or salary. Then Dr. Busia said that you are also a victim. You also eat free and sleep free, and at the same time receive monthly allowance from the state. He continued by saying that from next year, you are no more going to collect or enjoy allowance, as you have readily and rightly said that it is nonsense for those who eat free and sleep free also to be paid or enjoyed allowance. So therefore, allowance was cancelled in 1967. All those who went to training colleges from 1968 to 1984 were no more paid or received trainee allowance due to the cancellation by Dr. K.A. Busia. As a result of the cancellation of the trainee monthly allowance, enrollment into the teacher and nursing training colleges reduced consequently, with the exodus of teachers and nurses to countries like Nigeria, Libya, South Africa, Liberia, Sierra Leone, etc., to seek greener pastures. In the 1980s, there were a shortage of teachers and nurses in Ghana. It was in 1985 that the PNDC Secretary for Education, Madam Mary Grant, approached and advised the then head of state of Ghana, President Flight Lieutenant John Rawlings, to reintroduce the trainee allowance, which was cancelled by Dr. K.A. Busia in 1967. Madam Mary Grant sensitized JJ Rawlings that the unattractive and unlucrativeness nature of the teaching and nursing professionals, as well as the mass exodus of teachers and nurses from Ghana to foreign countries, will be steadily addressed and stopped. President Flight Lieutenant JJ Rawlings was a listening president and accepted the proposal of the Secretary of Education, Madam Mary Grant, and then reintroduced or restored the trainees' allowance in 1985. After the restoration of the trainee allowance, professionals such as teachers, nurses, etc., exodus of teachers and nurses to other neighboring countries to look for greener pastures stopped. Professions such as teachers, nurses, etc., have become not only lucrative but also very attractive. As more teachers are posted to fill in schools, so as the hospitals are getting abundant health professionals such as nurses, midwives, etc., being employed to fill our hospitals. Now there are much more improvements, and the country has chalked stability in the form of training and producing more teachers, nurses, etc., abundantly to fill the working space to serve the nation. The training colleges, which are currently elevated to the status of colleges of professionals, where higher learning and education, such as diploma, first degree, etc., are taught and attained. It is in this way reasonably uneconomical to maintain the payment of monthly allowances to trainees. All other higher schools of learning, such as polytechnics, universities, etc., that are at par with the colleges of education, nursing, etc., should be treated fairly and equally. Students who gain admission to higher schools of learning have the same background in terms of vulnerability, and affordability. It is unjustified for government to treat other segments of tertiary education, such as teachers, nurses, etc., differently by paying them allowance, whilst other segments of tertiary education, such as polytechnics, universities, etc., is denied. This is a cheat. All students of higher institution of learning in Ghana should be treated fairly and equally. If government of Ghana is considering the payment of allowances, then no higher institution of learning should be left out. It is therefore worryingly to deny other tertiary institutions allowance to their trainee students, whilst others are paid. Otherwise, the allowance should be paid to all or denied to all higher educational institutions. What is good for goose is also good for gander. So therefore, the platform for early teachers, PETs, are in support of the total cancellation of trainee allowances. The teachers and nurses training allowance is not a constitutional requirement. Thank you for listening to us.
JJ.